Discovery is out. I am out. Sigh, touching grass. Because fuck knows, I'm about to spend several days trapped in my house. Playing a game that came out in 2004. Let me tell you something. I'm just like every other WoW player. I'm not opposed to shitting on Blizzard, but when they make something good for once, I'm also not opposed to giving them credit.
Love yourself now!
And Season of Discovery does deserve some praise, because so far it's been fantastic. But before we talk about the game, we first need to talk about the launch. Riz, I'm sorry, your names are gone.
Really?
That name is unavailable. Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, no, yeah, all of your names are gone.
Fuck!
I'm not kidding. I'm not. Mine's not, so get fucked. I'm logging in. I'm speeding ahead of the competition. Oh my god, there's so many. Wait, oh, don't worry, you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Guys?
Mawdots.
So I was lucky enough to be stuck at work for like the first 8 hours of the launch day. So by the time that I actually got home and in, it was still like an insane amount of players, but it was playable.
Let's get banned. Speed run. Go.
There's no NPCs. Oh, there he is. There he is.
No, that's not part of Season of Discovery. You gotta find them.
Oh my god. You're fucking
Holy shit. Look at all those players.
So, as you can see, as far as classic WoW server launches go, this one was pretty standard. Nobody could kill anything, and 40 minutes after the servers went up, they went straight back down. Oh, there it is! I tapped out for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is!
Close to the sun.
There it is!
Oh, it was a good run.
It was a good run.
That's a good queue, though.
Well,
I
I'll
saw
see you all in the next season.
queues.
Fortunately, the
2 or
servers
3
weren't down
hours.
for very long, and when they came back online, everything started to run smoothly. Including me, because I had a plan. Oh wait, I should run. I should leave. I need to go to Gurubashi Arena.
Eventually.
While I make my way to the arena, let me give you a brief rundown of it in case you're not familiar. In Gurubashi Arena, there's a goblin who loves to see some good old-fashioned violence. Because every 3 hours, he walks down into the arena and places down a chest that anyone can take. Inside this chest are numerous items, but specifically there's the Arena Master Trinket. Now, the observant among us may notice that you can't actually use this trinket in the first phase of the season anyway. However, if you manage to get fucking 12 of them, you can turn all of them in and get the Arena Grandmaster Trinket, which is usable. And because there aren't a lot of trinkets available,
For real?
may notice that you can't actually use this trinket in the first phase of the season
I thought he was
anyway.
gonna sell it.
However, if you manage to get fucking 12 of them, you can turn all of them in and get the Arena Grandmaster Trinket.
What kind of a grind is that? You have to go there 12 times. You have to be able to loot the chest 12 times. Turn it in for an increase your dodge chance 1% and an absorb an on-use ability. I mean, that's pretty good. Damn, that's pretty good.
Which is usable. And because there aren't a lot of trinkets available in this level bracket, anyone trying to min-max is going to try and get it. Which is why I'm trying to get it right now. And that's because my plan for Season of Discovery is to be a try-hard, sweaty, degenerate bastard. I'm going to be at the top of every DPS meter. I'm going to have every piece of best-in-slot gear. I'm going to have...
There's so much of this gatekeeping happening right now in Season of Discovery. I've seen people say, looking for fresh 7-7, checking logs. I've seen gear checks in Orgrimmar. Like, it's level 25, and honestly, the raid's not that hard. It's just Kelris and Akamai, but Kelris, with the right consumables, can be done really, really easily now. And the gear, like I've been the last 2 times of my warrior, I've been in BFD as the only warrior. So pretty much I have a full tank set in my bank. Because everything that's male that drops, I'm rolling on for off-spec or main-spec, but it's also I'm the only male user. Huge W for warriors, being able to be the only male users right now, usually. Well, on Horde side, obviously there's Paladins on the Alliance side.
have the highest rank in PvP, and I'm going to be the greatest player on the server. And all of it starts right here with the first Gurabashi Arena chest. Level 2 from discovering Gurabashi Arena. As I made my way into the arena itself, I learned that I wasn't the only person to have this idea. And then all of my dreams got crushed because we found out that the chest wasn't going to spawn anyway. Blizzard, the genius chromosome gigabrains,
Wow, what a Chad move to not do it.
actually fought ahead for once and disabled it. And to be perfectly honest with you, learning that I wasn't going to have to come over to this arena every 3 hours for potentially weeks on end until I finally got a single good item.
That's good news.
That was kind of a relief, to be honest.
That's good news.
I mean, what the hell is this, Blizzard? No changes? Where's my trinket? Where's my power? Where's my ability to flaunt over other players that I've spent 18 hours a day playing the game, so that makes me better at it than them? Come on!
Got a point.
Anyway, since the chest was definitely not spawning, we decided to go and fight to the death just for the sake of it. Oh, he's casting. No!
Oh, he got the drop.
He got
on
the
you.
drop on me! But it's okay, because I'm gonna get crit right now.
Oh,
Let's go!
Someone's gonna jump
4-5
right
combo.
now. I knew they would. I
that
knew they
sucks.
would.
Despite not getting a trinket from the arena, it was still a fun trip, and now it was time to go back to the actual fucking game. Now, I could spend a bunch of time
The first 2 levels he spent probably close to an hour of travel to get to Gurabashi Arena. On foot, no buffs, no movement speed buffs. You didn't go to Thunder Bluff to get the boon of Black Fathom. Nobody had the boon of Black Fathom. Holy shit.
I'm talking about the new rune system, you know, the main driving thing behind this whole season. But really, anything I could talk about boils down to runes good, 10 out of 10, keep it up. The one thing I will say is that the way you get the rogue runes by sneaking around and pickpocketing is fantastic and completely on theme for the class. There was one rune in particular which was especially interesting to go and get, but I'm going to talk about that one a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because for now, it's time to talk about the main event, the race to level 25. A few hours after the service went live, a good friend and guildmate of mine offered me this challenge, a 5 gold bet on whichever one of us would make it to level 25 first. And if there's one thing you need to know about me,
bet.
it's that I can't turn down a wager. I love myself a bet, a little bit of gambling, you might say.
I unironically think gambling is good.
However, I was hesitant to accept his offer, and to understand why, I'm gonna have to talk about Jom himself. This man is a legend, a hero, and the champion of all BM hunters. He's always at the top of the meters. He's nice to everybody, and he's never made a mistake in his entire life. And because
Wow.
of how balanced hunters were at the start of the season, it's fair
He's white knighting for his buddy super hard right now.
to say that he was a little bit powerful. Everybody loves him. We named the Season of Discovery Guild after him. Also,
Oh, wow.
he does this thing where he adds his name into different logos and brands, and I love all of these edits so much that I just had to include them in this video. He's amazing, he's a guardian angel, and all around, he's just a great guy. And then there's me. I'm a bit of a scoundrel, a menace, a piece of shit, if you will. On top of this, I'm also not very good at the game. I also decided to play a rogue, a class which is typically a little bit slower at leveling than a hunter. Not to mention the fact that compared to Jom, my reputation is not as good. And the icing on the cake here is that when he offered me the challenge, he was already at a higher level. And so, keeping all of this in mind, I decided to lie to you, the YouTube audience. Because I didn't hesitate for 1 second. You think
Hell
I'm
yeah.
scared? You think I'm a bitch?
Hell
John might
yeah.
be playing a faster leveling class than me, and he also might be better at the game than me, but there are 2 things he has which I don't have, which means that I still have a chance to win. John has a life and a job outside of this video game. 2 shackles of reality.
Oh, he's hitting him with the old, you got the wife and kids, I got the time.
Which do not bind me. He has the advantage of skill, and I have the advantage of time. It's the battle of good versus evil, and you're watching it from the perspective of the villain. And also the underdog, because despite everything, I still have a huge disadvantage here. But I'm
Yeah.
going to try my best anyway. All of
Hunters
that
are the
said, I
fastest
still
leveling
didn't take
class
the
in the
leveling
game.
as seriously
Especially
or
in
efficiently as I could have done. It was still
might
Season
be
of
different in
Discovery after all, and I wanted to discover some
Classic for
dopamine.
sure.
Look at this shit. I got all 5 of my Planestrider kidneys before I saw a single beak. I exist in this universe purely to counteract the luck that Dream has.
Yeah, so the Planestrider beaks, the zebra hooves, the raptor heads. How many raptors you gotta kill that ain't got heads? How does that work, Blizzard? I need 12 raptor heads. I should be able to kill 12 raptors. If you want to do it differently, don't go saying you need to collect 12 raptor heads, right? I guess in an alternate universe you could say that maybe the heads of the raptors were destroyed because of the battle that ensued between you. But who am I to say?
Also saw some pretty funny bugs that I've never encountered before. Did you guys know that as of Season of Discovery, the Centaur can dive underwater? Got to level 15 while waiting for a Zeppelin, and for some reason my brain went, hey, go do Warsong Gold. This was not the smartest decision I've ever made, but at least I got some B-roll out of it. Then I went and ran Ragefire Chasm with Job, and I suppose he'll then also tag along. The nice thing about running dungeons in this mode is that it's not hardcore, so I'm not there sweating over every tiny mistake. The obvious trade-off there is that because it's not hardcore, you're going to see a lot more mistakes. Naturally, both Job and myself survived this poll, because we're built...
The people who are going back to hardcore after finishing their characters on Season of Discovery probably will die, or already have died.
Different. Also, at this point in time, John was only one level ahead of me, which gave me a lot of confidence in thinking that I could win the race. Oh, and if you've never played on a role-playing server before...
And the reason is because you're so much more relaxed, you're enjoying a different type of game, and the mistakes that you're not so used to honing in on and not making, now that kind of goes away, so you kind of like lose that muscle memory of like awareness, I guess. That's gonna be fun.
I highly recommend that you give it a go. This Tauren outside Ragefire Chasm would not stop fucking crying, and none of us knew what to do to calm him down. I tried trading him a knife so that he could, you know, resolve his problems permanently, but even the prospect of sweet release could not save this man. So I did what anyone in a crisis situation would do. I sat down and started crying right next to him. If you can't beat them, join them.
Hell yeah.
And I think that's what he needed, because
this guy's a good friend. He's juicing up Jom. He's helping out the locals. It's a good guy right here.
He almost immediately got up and said that he was feeling better. Turns out he had just, and I quote, ripped his foreskin, and then he just fucked off. Anyway, moving on. I was still leveling somewhat efficiently, but I did take pauses to do things like my professions. Check out my premium brand, Gucci goggles. I continued to level pretty much uninterrupted until I got to 19 when I checked in on John's progress. He was still one level ahead of me at this point, which did make me a little bit nervous. But it's okay, it's okay. I got to level 20 very soon afterwards. I don't have footage of it. I forgot to record it.
Didn't happen.
I'm a fucking idiot. Moving on. Now, this is the part where things start to get a little bit fucky-wucky. So after I hit level 20, I got this letter in the mail from someone called C, who I will henceforth be referring to as cunt. And it goes...
hold on, let's read the letter.
I don't have footage of it. I forgot to hit level 20. I got this letter in the mail.
Greetings, Mawdots. I've been observing your handiwork for some time now. I must say, I'm impressed. You are clearly no mere street urchin. There's a job I'd like you to do for me, the retrieval of a certain treasure. I assure you the pay is lucrative. If you're interested, I left a dead drop in a cabin beside Pirewood Village. You'll find more information within. Regards, C.
From someone called C, who I will henceforth be referring to as cunt. And it goes like this. Greetings, Mawdots. I've been observing your handiwork.
If I knew he was going to read it, I wouldn't have read it. He's going to read it better.
For some time now, I must say, I'm impressed. You're clearly no mere street urchin? What the fuck? There's a job I'd like you to do for me. The retrieval of a certain treasure. I assure you, the pay is lucrative. If you're interested, I've left a dead drop in a cabin beside Pirewood Village. You'll find more information within. Regards, cunt. Getting this letter piqued my interest and made me think that I should probably put it at the top of my priority list. So naturally, I in. Regards, cunt. Getting this letter piqued my interest and made me think that I should probably put it at the top of my...
Check out Dead Drop near Pirewood Village. 2-3 lines of... post harmful misinformation online. Got the cookies, though. He is not a broke boy.
My priority list. So naturally, I forgot about it and went to Wailing Caverns. I mean, I am still in the middle of a leveling
Naturally.
race. There's not a lot to talk about with this
Leggings of the
particular
Fang
dungeon
are there
run,
for
though.
him.
We had this one pull where everyone other than John and myself died again. I'm just saying, it's a running trend. I also actually won a chest in a dungeon for once. If you know, you know. The Leggings of the Fang didn't drop. This game is completely fucking unplayable.
Okay, here's what's funny about that is I have been needing this item. I need this belt. I have done this dungeon on my warrior. No shit. At least 15 times in the last 3 days for this stupid fucking belt. I need this belt. It's the best in slot for my 25 dual wield arms warrior with that like red bleeding proc rune thing. Bleeding wounds proc. I need the fucking belt. I'm getting cucked by this video because of this fucking belt.
Unplayable. Right at the end of the dungeon, both of our guys who could resurrect people got killed, so we had to wait for them to run all of the way back before we could continue. John got the Venom Strike bow, and I didn't even get close to completing all of my quests, but not a lot of people do on their first run of this place. In fact, even as I'm recording this audio weeks later, I still just have the Deviant hides sat in my bag. I have no reason to go and turn them in. I did get up to some other
You could turn them in for gold. You can turn the quest in for gold if you're a 25 already. There's some rep involved. I mean, I can't remember if there's loot or not for that part of the quest, or for one of those 5 quests for Wailing Caverns, but it's still worth it.
But for now, I think it's time to go back and talk about this letter and the absolute crusade that it sent me on. Okay, here we go. Step 1. Find the dead drop zone in a house near Pirewood Village. You may notice that I'm already struggling to find the dead drop zone, but in my defense, they did put it right on the side of the main road, and I don't know how I was ever meant to see that. Once I was inside the cabin, I found that Cunt had sent me a follow-up letter. My mission was to go into Shadowfang Keep on my own and get an item named the Horn of Zelphos. However, little problem, there's this giant fucking locked door right at the start of the dungeon, which normally you have to kill the first.
But you're a rogue, and you can lockpick it. Because normally you would have to kill Rathogor and then open that gate behind him, and then that undead homie would come open the door. But you're a rogue, and you have lockpicking.
First boss in order to open. But it's okay. My man Cunt has an answer. He's got a contact in Stone Talon Mountains who can get me past the door. Okay, so all I have to do is go to Stone Talon Mountains and find Phoenix. Step 2. Go to Stone Talon Mountains and find Phoenix. It's worth mentioning that as I was on my way over to Stone Talon, I noticed that John had hit level 23 and I was still stuck at level 21. I began searching the zone high and low, but I couldn't find Phoenix anywhere. But it is just one zone in the game. How long could it possibly take to search the entire thing? Well, I started just after one.
Stone Talon Mountains, unironically, is a huge zone for. It's small, but it's big because it's narrow, you know. It forces you into tight corridors instead of just like the Barrens, for example, is just exactly what it sounds like, the Barrens. Duh. But yeah, it is, and then it's also a neutral zone, so you're also dealing with the potential PvP element there, and there are times where you could just keep running and jump and wave, but there's times where no matter how fast you're running, they're coming.
1 in the morning, and it was now 3 in the morning, and I felt like I was no closer. And one of the reasons why this was taking so long was actually because of a tip I got in general chat. Some guy told me that Phoenix was pretty much in the exact middle of the zone. And even though this was the simplest thing in the world, I still fucked around with it for hours because I am fucking brain dead. You see, from my perspective, the middle of the zone means somewhere along this bit of road.
Yep.
So I spent literally hours just walking
down.
up and down this area, which, spoiler alert, Phoenix was not got in. I spent so long doing this that John actually stopped leveling just to come and watch me search. Oh yeah, and while I was doing this,
He got
went and hit level
24.
24, so my odds of winning this race became slightly lower. He also traded me this dagger, and you know, what goes around comes around. Anyway, to cut a long story short, another hour went by and
Jom is a good dude. I believe it now. Jom stops his 3 levels ahead. This is the tortoise and the hare situation. He stops his 3 levels ahead grind for 5 gold to win, to come there and give him a dagger that's probably better from one of the daggers that he has to help him. Jom is a guy.
finally I found this goblin.
Yo.
And I just fucking know that there's someone out there right now saying, why didn't you just Google it? Why didn't you just use google.com? No. Bad. Not in keeping with the season.
That's true. There are a lot of things within the first week of Season of Discovery that I almost refused to look up because I wanted to have the element of the discovery, and I wanted to find out in-game through players and interaction with players how to get runes and do things instead of just Wowhead or any of the other like Icy Veins. Like, those are great tools, and I use them now to when I'm making my alts because the information is out there now, and it's, you know, far enough now to where at least during this phase, the season, the discovery aspect is kind of waved off a little bit, but the information's out there now. It's okay now. But day 1, day 2, day 3, just find out in game.
I wanted to discover this for myself and give myself a brain hemorrhage in the process, apparently. But hey, I found Phoenix. That means I can go and get that door open, right? Haha, haha. Turns out, this motherfucker needs a Venture Co. work order.
Glad I could help.
Step 3. Get Phoenix a Venture
So many
Company
hoops.
work order. Fortunately, all you have to do for this part is pickpocket some nearby goblins. You may notice that I'm killing these goblins and not pickpocketing them, because at first, I didn't understand what the fuck I was doing. Also, this rogue I was with sword completely ate shit at one point and ran straight off the rafters. I ended
Damn.
up fucking about on the scaffolding for
Get
over
fucked.
20 minutes, but eventually I did get a work order and returned to Phoenix. For my efforts, he gives me a goblin lockpick, which, as you might imagine, is several sticks of dynamite strapped together. This feels like a good time to mention that I am an engineer and probably could have figured out how to make this on my own. Anyway, doesn't matter. I've got the lockpick.
Is he about to find out that he could have just lockpicked it? I'm predicting right now that what is up with all these elemental stacks that he has on his action bars on the right hand side? Anyway, I think that he's about to find out that he could have just come here and unlocked it himself, which would have negated the last 2 parts of the quest. I'm just guessing.
Now I have to go back to Shadowfang Keep. Step 4. Sneak into Shadowfang Keep and steal the Horn of Zelphos. Since I was on a stealth mission, I discreetly, quietly made my way up to the door and blew it wide open with an explosion. I started looking around, but in my mind, there was only one place that this horn could possibly be. Fenris's room has a whole bunch of bookshelves with random shit on them, and it's also where you find an item from. I started looking around, but in my mind, there was only one place that this horn could possibly be. Fenris's room has a whole bunch of bookshelves with random
Industrial society and its future. Okay. You can lockpick that, right? Am I crazy? Now I have to look. I'm fucked up.
shit on them, and it's also where you find an item for a quest. So I tried making my way there, which, by the way, I failed several times. So after another 15 minutes and 4 failed attempts, I figured, fuck this, I'm gonna go and respec so that I can stealth better. Once I got back to Shadowfang Keep, I was very relieved to see that the door was still open. Unsurprisingly, this time around, I made it much further into the keep than I previously had. However, this still wasn't far enough, and at this point I had to make a crucial choice. You see, it was now 5:30 in the morning, and I started doing this entire thing at 1 in the morning. In those 4.5 hours, I gained a grand total of 6 bars of experience. And in case you've forgotten, I'm still kind of in, a leveling race against Jom, who is currently 3 levels higher than me. And you might be wondering why I'm even talking about the leveling race anymore at all. Jom is so far ahead, he's 1 level away from Cap, there's no chance that I can catch up to him. Right. Well, remember how I said Jom has a life and a job earlier in the video? Turns out that job is kind of coming into play right now. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to log on tomorrow and play the game at all, and if that was the case, I could definitely still win this leveling race.
Yep.
But if he was able to log on, I would almost certainly lose the race. Unless I stayed up for the rest of the night and power leveled as hard as I could. So here was my choice. Either stay up all night, make myself feel like shit and guarantee that I won the race, or get a healthy night's rest, wake up tomorrow and gamble on still winning the race if Jom wasn't able to log in. But wouldn't a true sweaty degenerate bastard just disregard things like sleeping well in order to play the game more?
Yep.
Would I be betraying who I am as a person if I did that?
No.
Yes I would. But you know what? That's exactly what I did. I turned the game off, got into bed, and thought to myself, tomorrow, may the best man win. Okay, maybe I overslept a little bit, and maybe even after I woke up, I took a really hot shower before logging on, but, the funny part is, I didn't even immediately start leveling once I logged in. The first thing I went and did was my poison quest. The second thing I went and did was murder a guy. The third thing I did was kill both of these guys before telling them to go to retail. And the fifth thing was finally getting to level 22 by discovering Zoram Strand. Oh, sorry, I skipped number 4. I killed another guy. And while all of this was happening, I was messaging Jom on Discord. I was telling him that I thought I could get to level 25 by about 9 PM, which at the time was just over 5 hours away. Then this motherfucker hit me with the words that I always love to hear. Side bet. This time the bet was simply on whether or not I would actually get to the max level by 9. But
What would be more interesting for you? A, 2.5 gold, so you would make back half if you made it even if I ding first. B, 5 gold, so it's double or nothing. You either get all the marbles for 10 gold, or you make it and don't owe anything at all. C, a small token amount for some spice, 1G, etc. D, a silly amount to motivate you. So this is me hitting 25 by 9 PM today, regardless of the race outcome. Yeah, so our 5 gold bet stands first to 25. On top of that, a side bet. Okay. I would take B, honestly.
the bet was simply on whether or not I would actually get to the max level by 9. But, surprisingly, even to myself, I actually had to turn this bet down. I was already definitely going to lose the leveling race, and I wasn't exactly wealthy.
You're a broke boy, just say so.
So, ultimately, I had to tell Jom that this was one bet I didn't want to do. And if you believed me when I said that, then you haven't been paying any fucking attention. Once again, I accepted his offer without hesitation. The side bet, the leveling race, I want all of it. I want the money, baby, the money. 10 gold?
Get it.
Do you have any idea how many items I can buy in the BFD GDKP if I have that kind of dough? None. 0 items. There was a guy trying to join one of these 1 week after the servers went live with a $600 budget. If only this multi-dollar company had a way to stop the botting problem, maybe we wouldn't be dealing with this shit. But I digress. It was time to grind until 9 PM, or until my fingers fell off, whichever came first.
Let's fucking go!
I was grinding away, making decent progress, but then I saw that John had come online. And seeing this freaked me out so badly that I fucked up and got myself killed. John is just way too powerful. All he had to do to fuck me up was load the game. And speaking of fuck-ups, at this point I was so focused on leveling that I didn't even record most of it. I hit level 23 and then had to turn on the recording software afterwards. But fortunately, I have the power of movie magic, so I can just make it look like I leveled up on screen anyway. Seamless. One saving grace of my mad dash to 25 was the fact that I hadn't actually done Shadowfang Keep yet. Well, not in the intended way. I also got lucky because I wasn't just the only lever user in the group, but also everyone I was with was absolutely stacked and blasting through this place in record time. Until we got to Aragal, where 2 people died. 2 people ran out of the instance to reset the boss, and I vanished and stood in the corner doing nothing. Once the others got back, we executed the fight properly, and unsurprisingly, nobody got killed. For the most part, the final hours of this leveling race had...
I must have did SFK 10 or 15 times before I got the Silverland family seal. That thing does not want to drop. As you can see, he had the robes of Argal that dropped. That pretty much drops like every time.
Been going really well for me. It was now 7 PM and I was nearly at level 24, which meant that getting to 25 by 9 PM was very doable. But while I was doing this, there was something weighing on me mentally, something that I just couldn't get out of my head. John made it to level 24 back when I was still searching for Phoenix, and yet despite being logged in for multiple hours today, he was still at the same level. Even if he had been leveling as inefficiently as possible, he still easily would have made it to the max level by now, which meant that there was only one possible explanation. John was taunting me.
I don't know if John was taunting him. I'll be honest, in my experience with the game, there's oftentimes where I only have a limited amount of playtime to play, and there's not necessarily like a lot amount of stuff I could do in the game, but I still kind of want to be in the game. Like I'll go, farming. Now I'm not competing for 5 or 10 gold or any gold in the leveling race, so I don't know why he would skip out on the leveling race to go farming herbs or mining or anything, but it's classic WoW. You never know the minds of what's going on with some of these players. I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
Mocking me. He was probably stood right by an NPC where he could hand in the final quest he needed in order to win the race. Meanwhile, I was scratching and scraping at the dirt, desperately trying to find any XP that I could to catch up with him. But John was taking a big risk by doing this, because once I reached level 24 myself, which, by the way, I also forgot to record, he wouldn't know when I was going to make it to 25 and potentially ruin his entire plan. There was no doubt in my mind, any second now he might hand in his quests and the whole thing would be over, but that didn't stop me. I couldn't give up. I had to keep going. I handed in all of my quests at Camp Tarajo, and at that point I was over halfway there. Then I immediately grabbed the flight over to Thunderbluff, where I had even more quests to hand in. I kept checking the guild tab every few seconds just to see if I'd lost the race, but there he was. 24. I still had a chance. I could still fucking win. And I thought to myself, you know what? If he's waiting to hand in one final quest, then I'm gonna make him sweat. I'm gonna call his bluff. I taunted him in the guild chat. I wasn't here to fuck around. His hubris had amassed a debt he could not pay. I would be victorious. Then I checked the guild tab again, and I saw that John had hit level 25.
Oh, there he goes.
Well, fuck. So, turns out, unsurprisingly, John had in fact been fucking with me for this entire final day. And the thing that sealed my fate was actually me flying into Thunderbluff. John was monitoring me via the guild tab, and when he saw me move into Mulgore, he thought that I was going to go and hand in a bunch of quests and potentially hit level 25.
Wow.
But if we're being entirely honest, that's not the reason why I lost this race. I made the conscious decision to prioritize sleeping and showering instead of playing World of Warcraft. Two of the greatest enemies to any true MMO.
I'm not saying don't shower. I'm not saying don't sleep. You had it, Mawdots. You had it, dude.
MMO player. Those 8 hours of sleep I got were not worth it. Really.
8? People out here getting 8 hours of sleep still. Seriously? Like 5 to 6? Good night for me if I get 5 or 6.
The moral of the story is, don't take care of yourself. You don't need to sleep, and you don't need to shower. All you need is to be good at video games. The story's not quite finished though, because I still had to get to level 25 by 9 PM in order to win the side bet. At this point though, I'm not going to act like it was a difficult task. I had plenty of time, so I kind of just slowed down and enjoyed the last bit of the leveling process. Although I did try and kill Sharp Talon with this level 23 warrior. And I'm sure you're thinking, there's no way, right? This thing is level 31, surely you got fucked. But we kited it, and we swapped having aggro at the right times, rooms and we killed it. What can I
All
say?
right,
We're
all
built
right.
different. Shout out to my boy Cfuse here. And with that, my leveling experience came to an end.
Hey, dang
Ultimately,
grats.
both of the bets that John and I made cancelled each other out. I did go on some other adventures with him, but the video's getting kind of long,
Good
so
crit.
I'm going to go ahead and skip those for now. However, before I end this video, there is one final loose thread that I have to tie up, and it involves a certain cunt. I went back to Shadowfang Keep to finally wrap up this stealth operation. I also had to go and get an entirely new explosive just to get the door open again. And by the way, later I found...
Okay. So I must be wrong then. Like, I have to be wrong that rogues can't lockpick that door. I thought they could. What is all of this fire elemental macros he has here? That's like so many. Okay. Okay.
Now, you don't even need this explosive at all. You can just stealth to the NPC, talk to him, vanish, and then get the door open that way. You're telling me that I never even needed to find this guy in the first place? Fuck.
Hold up.
To finally wrap up this stealth operation. I also had to go and get an entirely new explosive just to get the door open again. And by the way, later I found out you don't even need this explosive at all. You can just stealth to the NPC, talk to him, vanish, and then get the door open that way. You're telling
Okay. So there is another way to get the door open.
me that I never even needed to find this guy in the first place? Fuck it, we're here now anyway. On to the Fenris room. Now that I was a higher level, stealthing through Shadowfang Keep was a trivial task. I made my way up the final spiral stairway and thought to myself, finally, this ordeal was going to come to an
Dangerous.
end. I made my way into the room, had a look around, and realised I'd completely cucked myself. So, fun fact, the item wasn't in there, so back into the keep I go
Oh,
to find
no.
wherever the hell it actually is stored. After what I thought was quite a thorough search of pretty much the entire dungeon, suddenly I had a realisation, and with it came the rage of 1,000 burning suns. I went into the very last place I would think to look,
the steeds.
stables. And oh look, it's a treasured artifact being kept.
It's right there in front of the steeds. That never dropped this bag that they have either.
In a box right next to the fucking horses. Who did it, huh? Was it you? Was it you? Ah, yes, I will leave this
No, it
special
wasn't them.
item in a locked box next to my beasts of burden. Fuck you. The box requires a key, and to get it, you have to pickpocket 2 different NPCs inside the dungeon and put their halves of the key together. And finally, after all of this time,
That's
I managed
actually a really cool quest. That is actually a really cool quest.
to open the box and get the Horn of Zelphos. I stealthed back out of the dungeon and left the horn at the dead drop zone. This entire thing started with a letter in the mail, so I assumed it was going to end in the exact same way. Cunt would send me whatever reward I was even getting for doing this in the mail, and finally the whole thing would be done. Or not! This bastard sent me another letter telling me that his gift for me was left in the dead drop zone. I just halved to Orgrimmar. Why the
Oh
fuck?
my
What was the point in this? So at 4 in the morning, I went all of the way back to Fire
That's classic WoW, baby. A shaman water totem quest. Represent. Fuck that quest.
Wood Village, entered the dead drop zone, and at long last I received Deadly Brew. And you know what? Despite everything I've been saying about this entire questline, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in this game. The entire thing was perfect class fantasy, and I really hope that Blizzard do more stuff like this for Season of Discovery going forward. But also, fuck this quest, man. Holy shit.
I've
in
heard that.
conclusion, I think Season of Discovery good, 10 out of 10, keep it up. Now, before
Agreed.
I go, 2 quick
Big time.
things. First of all, Jom and friends. If you want, you can come and be friends with us. We're on Crusader Strike EU. And if you're a rude, obnoxious bastard, I'll just kick you out. Second thing,
There you
due
go.
to the aforementioned guild name and player, we need the name Jom. We don't have it. We don't know who has it. Jom needs it. We're going to take it by force. This is a threat.
Give
If
the
anyone
man
out
his
there
name.
has the name, we're coming for you. We're going to come to your house, all of us, and we're going to need the name back. So just give it over, hand
Yeah.
it over, and no one has to get hurt, okay? Okay. I've already got some more season
Jom's a nice
Discovery
guy.
content planned out, so stay tuned for
Nice.
that. Thank you to everyone who watched the end of the hardcore series. It was really fun to make. Happy
that-
holidays to everybody
that dungeon
celebrating.
does have some
Thanks for watching the
frustrating
fucking
bosses.
video, and I'll see
Hell
you
yeah.
next time.
Nice.
Who the fuck goes day one and calls themselves Elon Musk?
Holy shit. The Race to 25, Season of Discovery. Well, Mawdots, you got me, buddy. Everybody should like and subscribe. That's a great video. Like the 162 likes. Should definitely go check. I can't wait for the next one.